There is a particular kind of loneliness that lives inside marriages. Co. Yule knows it well. 3 years beside the most feared man in Seoul, and somehow the loneliest person in the room. Every night, every unanswered call, every cold dinner, sitting untouched on a table set for two. Then one night an anonymous message arrives, 4 photographs, a hotel, a woman in an emerald dress. And something in Yule goes very quiet, not angry, not broken, just finally completely done. He packs one bag, removes his wedding ring, and walks out before sunrise with his 6-month-old son into a world far more dangerous than he ever imagined. This is that story.
Chapter 1. Yule's point of view. His fever is at 38.8. I say it out loud to nobody, because there is nobody there to say it to. Yuno burns against my chest, tiny fingers curling and uncurling against my cardigan, small mouth pressed open against my collarbone. I shift him higher, press my lips to his damp forehead, and turn back toward the kitchen counter where 6 hours of cold food sits untouched. Galbi, japchae, seaweed soup, and a birthday cake with 33 unlit candles slowly collapsing on one side. 4:13 a.m. Jaehyun, my husband is not home. Jaehyun has not been home since yesterday morning, when he straightened his cufflinks in the hallway mirror, said, "Don't wait up," and walked out without looking back. My phone buzzes on the counter with an unknown number, and I almost ignore it. I almost let it go to voicemail the way I let most things go these days. Quietly, without a fight, because fighting requires energy, I stopped having somewhere since the 3rd month of sleeping alone in a big house. I open it and our photographs load slowly. It was Kwon Jae-hyun walking through the glass entrance of the Grand Hyatt. Timestamp 11:47 p.m. A woman beside him with dark upswept hair, emerald sequin dress, red lips curved into something private, her hand on his arm, his body angled toward hers. The elevator doors sliding shut behind them like a curtain at the end of a show. I set the phone face down on the counter. I pick it back up. I look again and tears filled my eyes. Yuno whimpers and I start moving, bouncing him gently, pressing a cool cloth to his neck the way the doctor showed me, the way I have been doing for 3 hours alone while my husband was out with a woman. A few minutes later, the front door opens. Jaehyun steps inside, jacket still perfect, not a single thing about him suggesting guilt or hurry. His eyes find me across the dark apartment and he stops. "You're awake," he says. Yuno has a fever. I do not move from the counter. He's had it since 9. Something crosses his face. He takes one step forward. "Why didn't you call me, Did?" My voice doesn't shake. 49 times. Jaehyun goes quiet. "Who is she?" I ask, as I wave the photo in his face. Simple, direct. No accusation in my tone, just a question. The way a man asks something when he already understands the answer and only needs to hear it spoken aloud to make it real. His jaw tightens. 1 second, 2, 3. The silence stretches long enough to become its own confession. Chapter 2. Yule's point of view. It was business. I almost laugh, standing there with Yuno burning against my neck, my back aching from hours of holding him upright, my eyes still seeing those photographs every time I blink. Business. He walked into a hotel with a woman in an emerald dress at midnight, and he is standing in my kitchen at 4 a.m., calling it business. "Okay," I say it quietly. "Then explain it to me. I can't go into the details." Jaehyun. My voice cracks on his name and I hate that it does. "Your son has been burning up for 7 hours. I have been alone in this apartment since yesterday morning. I called you 14 times and you didn't pick up once, and now you are standing here telling me you can't go into the details?" He looks at Yuno. Something moves across his face. "I didn't know he was sick, because you didn't answer." I step closer. "That's the whole point. You never answer. You're never here. And I have been standing in the middle of this life we supposedly built together, feeling like I am completely invisible, and then I get those photos, and my throat closes. I press my lips together hard. "I need you to tell me the truth, right now. Who is she?" "She is connected to a rival family. It was a political meeting. That is all I can tell you." "Did you sleep with her?" I ask. Silence. Jaehyun. "Did you sleep with her?" I ask again. "No," he says it straight, direct. But the pause before it was 3 seconds too long, and we both know it. The hallway door opens. Mr. Shin steps in, hands folded, face tight with discomfort. He looks between us like a man who walked into a fire he cannot put out. "I am sorry to interrupt. The medication order for young Master Yuno, both Mr. Yule's primary and secondary accounts were declined when I attempted to process the payment 2 hours ago. I handled it through an alternative arrangement, but I needed to inform you. I turned to look at Jaehyun. Jaehyun is already staring at Mr. Shin like he just spoke in a language that shouldn't exist. What do you mean declined? It isn't a question. His voice has gone completely flat. Both accounts, sir, flagged and frozen. Mr. Shin bowed his head. Jaehyun immediately pulls out his phone. He turns toward the window and calls someone, his voice dropping so low I can barely hear him. I watch his shoulders. I watch the way his hand tightens around the phone. I watch the exact moment his body goes completely still. Then I hear it, heavy words from the voice on the other end, thin and sharp through the silence. Mr. Yule was flagged as liability. Jaehyun doesn't move. He doesn't turn around. And I stand there holding our sick son, realizing that someone inside his world has already decided exactly what I am worth. I am worthless. Chapter 3. Yule's Point of View. I don't even remember sitting down on the bathroom floor. 1 minute I am standing at the sink running cold water over my wrists, trying to think straight, and the next I am just down. My back is against the tub, knees pulled up, Yuno asleep against my chest finally. His fever broke maybe an hour ago and I just couldn't move after that. I just sat there listening to him breathe and thinking about nothing and everything at the same time until the nothing won. Jaehyun is in the bedroom. He came to bed at some point. I heard the mattress shift. I heard him say my name once through the door, quietly, like he wasn't sure he wanted me to answer. I didn't. I keep thinking about Yuno, not the photos, not the accounts. Not liability, that word that keeps crawling back up every time I try to push it down. I keep thinking about the fact that Yuno is 6 months old, and this house is the only world he knows. These walls, this silence, the way his father's side of the bed is always cold by morning. He can't talk yet. He can't understand any of it, but he feels it. Babies feel everything you don't say out loud, and I know that if I stay here, this becomes normal to him. This becomes what love looks like. I can't let that happen, and so I get up. I pack one bag. Just one. Yuno's formula, his blanket, his medication, and a few things for me. I don't think too hard about it, because if I think too hard, I won't leave this marriage. I move fast and quiet through the apartment, and I don't look at anything too long. I stop at the bedside table, my wedding ring. I stand there looking at it on my finger, and I think about the day he put it there. How certain I was. How stupid certainty feels from the other side of it. I pull it off, and I set it down on the table, and I don't let myself feel anything about the sound it makes when it lands. I pick up Yuno from the nursery. He makes that small sound he always makes when I lift him, that little exhale, and he just folds into me like he knows. Like he has always known I would be the one to carry him out of here. I walk past the bedroom. I stop. Jaehyun's hand is moving across the mattress in his sleep, slow, reaching across to my side. His fingers open against the cold, empty sheet and just stay there, holding nothing. I watch him for a long time. Then I walk out the front door. He can keep reaching, but I won't be there anymore.
Chapter 4, Jaehyun's Point of View. The first thing I notice is Yule's side of the bed, cold in a way that means he has been gone for hours. I am already on my feet before I am fully awake because something in my body knows he is gone before my brain catches up. Yule, I call out but hear nothing. Yule, I check the bathroom, the kitchen, the nursery, and that is where it hits me. Yuno's blanket is gone. The little elephant toy he sleeps with is gone. The formula on the shelf is gone. I stand in the middle of that empty nursery and I cannot breathe. I actually cannot breathe, me. A man who has sat across tables from people who wanted me dead and never once flinched. Standing in a baby's empty room at 6 a.m., completely falling apart. I find the wedding ring on the bedside table. I pick it up. I just stand there holding it in my palm and I don't know what to do. I call him. Straight to voicemail, I call again, voicemail. I call 12 more times and every single time his voice on the recording says, "Please leave a message," in that calm, quiet way he has, and I want to break everything in this apartment with my bare hands. Instead, I call my head of security, find my husband and child now. Hospitals, airports, train stations, his university friends, his brother, everyone. I want every exit out of Seoul covered in the next 30 minutes. Jisoo, my second in command, calls me back within the hour. I am still in the nursery. I don't know why I keep standing in there. It smells like Yuno. Like that baby soap Yule orders specially, something soft and clean that I never paid enough attention to before right now. Boss. Jisoo's voice is careful. We found something. The personal accounts freeze. It came from Director Kwan. Your uncle authorized it 3 days ago without your knowledge. I go very still. And the photos, Jisoo pauses, they were leaked from inside. Someone in our own organization sent them to Yule's phone, my uncle. My own uncle looked at my family and decided they were a tool. He decided that Yule was a tool he could use to destabilize me while Yuno was sick, while Yule was alone. While I was sitting in a hotel meeting I was manipulated into attending, my uncle was quietly burning my home down from the inside. Jisoo again. I got the security footage from the building. Someone followed them out of Seoul. Who? The room goes cold. We don't know yet.
Chapter 5. Yule's point of view. Busan smells like salt and bread. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect to walk into my friend Minho's place above his little bakery and feel my shoulders drop in relief for the first time in months. It is small and warm, and it smells like something is always baking, and the walls are thin, and I can hear the street below, and none of it is anything like the penthouse, and that is exactly why I can breathe here. Minho doesn't ask too many questions. That is why I called him. He just opened the door, looked at me and Yuno, looked at the single bag on my shoulder, and said, "The room in the back has a heater." That was it. No interrogation. No opinions. Just a heater and a door that locks, and someone who remembers who I was before I became Kwon Jae-hyun's husband. The first 2 days I sleep more than I have in months. Yuno sleeps too, curled against me in the small bed, his breathing finally even and easy now that his fever is gone. I wake up to the smell of bread and the sound of Minho singing badly to himself downstairs, and I lie there and I let myself feel it. This small, quiet, ridiculous feeling of being okay. I hadn't realized how long I had been not okay.
Hi, viewers. Have you ever stepped away from your life and realized the life you stepped away from had been suffocating you the whole time? Tell me in the comments, because this piece that Yule found, it is about to be ripped away from him in the worst possible way.
On the third day, I leave Yuno with Minho and walk to the market alone. Just to walk. Just to be a person in a crowd with no one watching and no one needing anything from me for 20 minutes. Minho is good with him. Yuno likes him already. Reaches for his finger, makes that gurgling sound that means he is comfortable. I stand at a vegetable stall and I pick up an onion and I think about nothing important, and it feels like the most extraordinary thing in the world. My phone has been ringing with unknown numbers for 2 days. I don't answer them. I already know who is looking for me. Then I hear it. Yule Minho's voice cuts through the entire market. I spin around and he is running toward me from the far end of the street, pushing through people, his face white, his eyes wild, in a way I have never seen on him before in the 15 years I have known him. He grabs my arms with both hands. Someone took Yuno. His voice breaks. They came into the apartment and I tried to stop them, but there were two of them and they took Yuno and put him in a black SUV, and I couldn't. My son is gone. The market stops moving around me and I feel a splitting ache in my chest as I run toward the bakery. Chapter 6. Yule's point of view. I am still running when I see him, Jae-hyun, standing at the entrance of the bakery in a dark coat, hair disheveled, a cut above his left eyebrow that nobody has cleaned yet, dried blood at the corner of it, and in his arms, pressed against his chest, wrapped in that little blanket I packed, Yuno, screaming, alive, I don't think, I just move. I grab Yuno out of his arms and pull him into my chest, and I press my face into his neck, and I just hold him there, shaking, my whole body shaking, because 20 minutes ago I thought he was gone forever. He's okay. Jaehyun's voice is low. Yul, he's okay. We got to the kidnappers before they left the city. I can't respond. I am too busy checking. Tiny hands, tiny feet, his face, his breathing. He is still screaming, but it is a furious scream, an indignant scream, the scream of a baby who is scared and overwhelmed and wants everything to stop. I press my lips to his forehead and I just breathe him in. Then I look up at Jaehyun, and I don't even know what to say to him. I don't know whether to thank him or scream at him or both at the same time. How did you find us? My voice comes out flat. I never stopped looking. That is not what I asked you. He holds my gaze. I had people in Busan within 12 hours of you leaving. I knew where you were. I stayed back because I thought you needed space. And then the moment I gave you space, someone tried to use it against you. I have nothing to say to his response as I turn to Yuno, who is settling now. That is the thing that breaks me. He is settling against my chest, his screaming dropping to hiccups, his little fist finding my cardigan. But 30 seconds ago, he was settled against Jaehyun. 30 seconds ago, my 6-month-old son, who has never been apart from me for more than an hour, was calm in the arms of a man I ran across the country to get away from. Because Yuno knows his father, even at 6 months old, even after everything. Who sent them? I ask. Rival family, they wanted leverage. Jae-hyun's jaw tightens. They thought taking Yuno would bring me to my knees. Were they wrong? Something crosses his face. Raw and unguarded in a way I almost never see. No, he says it quietly. They were not wrong. I look at him for a long time. This man. This impossible, exhausting, complicated man standing in front of a Busan bakery with dried blood on his face because he drove through the night for his son. The woman from that night, I say. Did you sleep with her? His eyes don't move from mine. She was a political arrangement. A negotiation with a rival family that my uncle forced me into without telling me what it really was. He pauses. I did not sleep with her. I sneered. You went silent when I asked you that question days ago, because I knew you wouldn't believe me, he countered. The silence between us is its own kind of violence. Then he steps closer and his voice drops. Yul, someone inside my own syndicate wants to use you and Yuno against me. You are not safe anywhere I am not. And I need you to hear that, not as your husband, but as the only person who knows exactly how dangerous these people are. Chapter 7. Yul's Point of View. Jae-hyun has been outside the bakery. I see him from the upstairs window at 6 a.m. Dark coat, hands in his pockets, standing across the street like he belongs there. Like he has always been there. I stand at that window for a full minute just staring at him, and he doesn't move, doesn't look up, just watches the building, the way a man watches something he refuses to lose. I go downstairs and I open the front door. How long have you been here? I ask. He turns around. Since the day they took Yuno. You have been standing outside in the cold for 2 days? Yes. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with any of him lately. I just step back inside and leave the door open, and he takes it for the invitation it is. Minho gives him coffee without being asked and disappears upstairs with Yuno. And Jae-hyun and I sit across from each other at the small kitchen table, and the silence between us is different from the silence in the penthouse. That silence was empty. This one is too full. Too many things sitting in it that neither of us knows how to pick up yet. They are still in Busan, Jae-hyun says, the rival syndicate. They didn't leave after we intercepted the SUV. They are looking for another opening. Then we should leave, I say. Not yet. Moving right now puts you in the open. I need one more night to get my people in position. He wraps both hands around the coffee cup. Stay inside today, both of you. I listen. For once, in the last week I just listened, but at 9 p.m. Yuno won't stop crying, and the apartment feels like it is closing in, and I step outside for 10 minutes of air without telling anyone. Just 10 minutes. Just the narrow street behind the bakery and the smell of salt water from the docks nearby. Jae-hyun finds me in 4 minutes flat. He doesn't say anything. He just falls into step beside me, and we walk in silence toward the water, and for 30 seconds, it almost feels normal. Like two people who chose each other, like before. Then they come out of the dark. 4 men. Moving fast and deliberate from both ends of the alley near the docks, cutting off every exit. I pull Yuno tight against my chest and I freeze. Jae-hyun steps in front of us. What happens next lasts maybe 90 seconds. I know that because I count. I stand against the dock wall counting seconds with Yuno screaming against my neck while Jae-hyun moves through those 4 men like something cold and absolute and completely without hesitation. When it is over, he turns around, breathing hard, blood on his hands. Eyes finding me immediately across the dark, and then his phone rings. He answers it, and I watch his face go completely white. He looks at Yuno in my arms, I speaking apologies to the young soul. Yuno being born made him a direct heir to syndicate leadership, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. Director Kwan cannot take control as long as our son is alive. Chapter 8. Yul's Point of View. I open the bakery door, and my whole body goes cold. It was the woman from the photos. Dark upswept hair. Elegant even standing on a narrow Busan street in the middle of nowhere. She is not wearing the emerald dress, but I would know her face anywhere because I have been seeing it every time I close my eyes for the past week. I am not your enemy, she says before I can speak. And I am running out of time to prove that to you. I let her in because something in her voice tells me I need to hear this. We sit at Minho's small kitchen table, 2 cups of tea, neither of us drinks, and she talks. She tells me her name is Yoon Sarah. She tells me Director Kwon approached her 6 weeks ago with a business proposal that turned out to be something else entirely. She tells me the hotel meeting was arranged, the route was arranged, the photographer was arranged. Every single detail of that night was constructed specifically so that those images would end up on my phone. He needed Jae-hyun broken, she says, not physically, emotionally. A broken man makes mistakes. A man who has just lost his family loses his judgment. And a man without judgment cannot hold syndicate leadership. I wrapped both hands around my cup. So you went along with it. I didn't know what it fully was until it was already done. She meets my eyes. I am sorry for what those photographs did to you. I mean that. I nod slowly. I don't know if I believe her. I don't know what I believe anymore. Then she says it. You should know something about your husband. She pauses. Everyone around him knows. It is not a secret inside that world. Kwon Jae-hyun loves you in a way that makes him vulnerable, and in that world vulnerability is a weapon someone will always try to use. I look at her. That night at the hotel he could not focus. He kept checking his phone. He was supposed to be performing a political alliance, and he was somewhere else entirely. One of Kwon's men told me afterward that Jae-hyun has always been that way, present in every room except the one that matters most to him. She looks down. You, Break High viewers, have you ever been told someone loved you deeply and felt absolutely nothing because you never felt it when it mattered? Tell me in the comments, because what Yul feels right now is something so many people never talk about. I sit there and I think about 3 years of cold dinners, unanswered calls, a birthday cake with 33 unlit candles. I think about holding a sick infant alone at 4 a.m. and feeling like the loneliest person in the world inside a marriage. Maybe he loves me. Maybe that is even true. But love that never shows up feels like nothing at all. Yoon Sarah's phone rings. She answers it, and I watch her face change in real time. The color draining out of it, her jaw tightening. She looks at me across that small table, and her voice comes out very controlled and very quiet. We need to find Jae-hyun right now. She is already standing. Director Kwon has ordered an assassination, not a kidnapping. He wants you and Yuno dead before morning. Chapter 9. Yul's Point of View. We find him outside the bakery entrance. Yoon Sarah spots him first. Jae-hyun standing near the side street with 2 of his men, phone pressed to his ear, already moving like he knows something is coming. I call his name and he turns, and the look on his face when he sees me and Yuno is the kind of look a person cannot fake. Then everything happens at once. The first shot comes from the rooftop across the street. I hear it before I understand what it is. A sharp crack cutting through the night air, and then Jae-hyun is moving, closing the distance between us in 3 steps, and he turns his body into the space between the gun and mine before I can even process what he is doing. The impact spins him sideways. He goes down hard. Jae-hyun, I drop to my knees beside him. Blood. His hand comes up, immediately grabbing my arm. Take Yuno and get behind the... Another shot hits the ground 2 feet from us. I don't think. I reach down and pull the gun from Jae-hyun's holster, and I stand up. Yuno is strapped to my chest screaming, and I plant my feet and I raise that gun with both hands and I shoot toward the rooftop. Once, twice, 3 times. The shooting stops. I don't know if I hit anyone. I don't care. I just needed them to stop, and they stopped, and that is enough. Jae-hyun's men swarm the street within seconds, neutralizing everything, and I drop back down beside Jae-hyun and press my hand against the wound in his side, and I talk to him. I don't even know what I say. I just keep talking because his eyes are open and I need them to stay that way. The hospital in Busan is small and bright and smells like antiseptic, and I sit in a plastic chair outside the operating room for 4 hours with Yuno asleep against my chest and Yoon Sarah silent beside me, and I don't cry. I am past crying. I am somewhere beyond it, in that flat open place that comes after everything has already happened. Jae-hyun is out of surgery by morning, critical but stable. I walk into his room and I sit beside his bed and I wait. He opens his eyes 2 hours later and finds me immediately. Like even half-conscious, his body knows where I am. You stayed, he says. His voice is rough and low. He is quiet for a long moment after that. Then he talks. He talks about every unanswered call, every cold dinner. Every night, he chose the syndicate over the person waiting for him at home. He talks about mistaking silence for strength and absence for protection, and he talks until his voice breaks, and then he keeps going anyway. I listen to every word, then I stand up. I pick up Yuno. I look at Jaehyun one last time. I believe you love me. I really do. But Jaehyun, love doesn't erase 3 years of me crying alone in a room you never bothered to walk into. You love me and you still let me drown. So yes, I believe you. I shift Yuno against my shoulder. But I am still leaving you. Chapter 10. Yule's Point of View. 6 months later, my apartment smells like coffee and baby soap, and the particular kind of quiet that belongs only to people who chose their own peace on purpose. Yuno is on the floor in front of me, sitting up on his own now, batting at the little stuffed elephant Minho sent from Busan, making that gurgling laugh that does something permanent to my chest every single time. He is healthy, round-cheeked and bright-eyed, and so relentlessly alive that some mornings I just sit and watch him and think about that night in the penthouse, and cannot believe how far we have come from it. My laptop is open on the table. 43 students waiting for today's literature lecture. I have notes on Fitzgerald, on the space between what people say and what they mean, on how the most important things in any story are always the things left unwritten. My students think I am talking about books. I am always talking about books. Director Kwan was apprehended 4 months ago. Jae-yoon's people moved on him quietly and completely, and he is now facing charges that will keep him occupied for the rest of his life. The assassination attempt, the frozen accounts, the staged photographs, all of it documented, all of it traceable back to one man who looked at a 6-month-old infant and saw an obstacle. I don't think about him anymore. He doesn't deserve the space. Jaehyun, though. Jaehyun is a different conversation entirely. He shows up every single time. That is the thing I keep coming back to. Every co-parenting arrangement, every scheduled visit, he is early, never late, never cancels. He sits on my floor and plays with Yuno for hours, and he doesn't perform it, doesn't make it a show for my benefit. He is just there, fully and completely there, in a way he never was in 3 years of marriage. He brings food when he drops Yuno off, never asks if I need it, just leaves it on the counter. My coffee order, always right. Little things I never told him I noticed, but I notice every single time. I went to therapy. I am still going. I am learning the difference between what I deserved and what I accepted. And some days that distinction feels like the most important thing I have ever studied. I am happy, actually genuinely happy. Not the quiet survival I mistook for happiness for 3 years. Real happiness. The kind that belongs to me. Tonight Jaehyun stands at my door after dropping Yuno off, and he looks at me with that look he has been wearing for 6 months. Patient, steady, not pushing, and he says quietly, "Have dinner with me." I look at him for a long time. This man, this impossible, exhausting, changed man standing at the door of the life I built without him. Yuno laughs behind me. I don't say yes, I don't say no. I just look at Kwon Jae-hyun like a man who finally knows exactly what he is worth, and I let him wait.
The end. If this story hit you somewhere deep, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment and tell me, did Yul make the right call keeping Jaehyun waiting? Let me know where you stand.